Okay, now we are going to begin a roundtable discussion. The dataset control, numerical modeling, boundary layer, and surface processes. We have here a few names. Gilberto and myself keep appearing again here. They made us work today, the whole day. And we have Saulo Freitas. Saulo Freitas sent an email saying that he couldn't come. And Christopher, where is he? You want to sit here? We thought we would start this roundtable discussion by a few, well, I will try to summarize what we had today in modeling, and then we will discuss a little bit of that. Then Gilberto has a presentation on data in general. You would like to say a few words after? Yeah? Perhaps in the modeling part. Yeah. So I will start summarizing, and the modeling session just as a to put some thoughts, and then we start discussing all that. So what we had today was we can group the presentations on the. We started with the ensemble idea, the high-resolution limited area model ensemble that ran during the campaign in Santa Maria. And presented a challenge. These guys had several meetings to decide how to do it and how to work out all the possible options on how to generate the ensemble. Then we had a group of presentations on model intercomparison, and then we see that we're still beginning on in that line. We're still in the process of getting a real model intercomparison. Then we had simulations of golden days, and then in these simulations is where we find how do we deal with the model output? We're remembering that we have campaigns where we had radar and other instrumentation. Most of the model evaluation was linked to radar or satellite, and basically what comes up from that is there are different ways to evaluate. You can go point by point. We had presentations where we tried to see whether the model was doing a good job at places, points, and that's a very demanding type of evaluation. You want your model to be perfect at the point, where you have a rain gauge. Then we looked also to patterns. You want to see if the model is moving patterns, having patterns, but moving them in the right direction. You look to the radar and satellite again. And finally, you have another way to look at the evaluation is with statistics. Are we reproducing cloud tops? The distribution of cloud tops. And we saw that there are things that the models can reproduce and others they don't. So basically all the methods of evaluation on mesoscale systems, they come from the large scale, and that's not it's a when you change scale to the meso, to the very high resolution, you can't just use the same. So using statistics is a much better method than going into a point, right? Because we are still very far away from reproducing the exact location of a convective cell, the exact moment in time where it's going to appear. So statistics is a better way to go ahead to see if at least we're having a population of clouds that look like reality. They have the similar cloud tops. They have average rainfall rates that look alike to whatever was observed. So basically what we've seen today is all these ways to look at model output, how important it is to for the Shuva project objectives to look at clouds, how the clouds are being modeled. But we also see that we're, from the modeling point of view, we are still using very little of the observed data sets. There are much more enormous data sets that from the models have learned how to compare with radar. That's a great step. Usually they compare with themselves, with other models and all that. So going to a radar data set or satellite, it's a good thing. But Shuva project has much more. So I think when Luis Augusto and Carlos organized this workshop, they thought, let's put the models first, so then all the observations can say, "Yay, you should have used my model. Yay, you should do." So that was the strategy. So, okay, so that's my summary. I would ask Christopher to add whatever he thinks, and then we open for a discussion.
Thank you, Assunção. Well, no, very short words. Just that the idea behind the ensemble is to have an alternative way to look at forecast. Okay, this is, I mean, that perhaps we are some kind of addicted. I mean, the scientific community to look at things in a deterministic way. So an ensemble, it carries this another way. I think this is in my opinion, in my point of view, that is to look at things at the probabilistic way. So things just not happen or not happen. So there is something in the middle in between those two scenarios, those binary scenarios. Dr. Assunção has already saying something about this. They will just emphasize something, for example, instead of trying to force or to force in a point of view that the model should necessarily get the correct position of rain, looking from the observational point of view at the rain gauge, we should evaluate in a point of view is more collectively. That's if the model, the ensemble indeed gets the amount, the correct amount, or nearly the correct amount, but in the nearly right position. Okay. So this is the proposal that I bring here in the short scale. These ideas for ensemble also came from a larger scale. Okay, so you are interested into errors that grow during the numerical integration. In the case of the larger scales, the origins are other reasons, are other causes for these errors to grow. But we need to explore what are the causes, what are the origins for those errors to grow in this very limited domain. So it is another kind of problem, but carries from the larger scale the same kind of thought, the same kind of line of thought. Specifically regarding this project, the high resolution LAM ensemble, I think that the next steps should be to look make more use of the Shuva dataset, and also to look at second moments as another kind of scores. Not also like, for instance, Braille SQ score that measures the probabilistic accuracy of the ensemble, okay, or the continuous ranked probability score, something like this, relative operative characteristics. If we can, I think it's a good idea to take an effort and to do this kind of thing. And also, to go beyond the mean, not only look at the mean of the ensemble, which is the most, the major of the people. When you talk about ensemble, you almost immediately think about the mean of the ensemble. It's not only this. The mean is important, but it's not only this. We need to look at the entire curve, the entire probability curve. Okay, so go beyond the mean, trying to estimate things in the probabilistic universe. I think that's my point. Thank you.
So we're open to comments. Luis. The golden days are the ones listed as golden days.
Okay, so they are previously listed as golden days.
No, they already happened, but they were so interesting that, they are golden. There's a golden mine there, lots of papers hidden. Now, I think we have several people working with a few golden days, like we saw the presentations today. Renato showed a few with another model, Olam, and then we had some here that were using WRF, and then you guys in CPTech ran all the golden days with BRAMs 1 kilometer nested to. So it's kind of hard to have all these cases looked by the several groups. We've tried to steer people into that, but it goes slowly. Some groups really do a better job. I would say, for example, if you get the cases that were presented today with Hollande, they are pretty good. They are very good simulations. They could be used as a reference. The ones, where is Renato? The ones Renato is using are the ones generated in CPTech, but perhaps he could use these others just to see if for the same day, if it gets better results or things like that. But we are a very dispersed community. And most of the funding goes for the field work. And so after the field work, people are on their own. They have their business and all that. So that's basically a logistic problem, I would say, on getting people to do this. But you or myself would say we're not their bosses, they just do whatever the thing about how do you get cats to go somewhere with cat food. So research in research is the same. How do you get people to do whatever you want? It's funding them, and most of the funding goes to field work. So that's one of the problems. I would say, I don't know. I would like to hear other people. Henrique. That would be an idea.
When you say, yeah, so the CPTech supercomputer was advised to be used for the scientific community for software development. This is one of that stuff. So, like you say, in principle, the supercomputer should be open to all the
For some groups, yes. I would say we've been using the Tupan supercomputer, and we managed to do that with the help of Saulo and his group. He helped us get going on that. That is some attraction, but not everybody needs that. There are people using their own computers for that. So
the idea of the deep thought and maybe you can refer, find out one way where you can for simulation, RTX simulation,
two comments. First, I think that as Dr. Assunção has already said, the supercomputer machine, I think, is not the big problem. Indeed, it's most a matter of organization and put people to work. And I think that in that regard, Enrique's idea is nice. I just wonder if perhaps we should include a remote work because we have partners that perhaps are far away and need and want to collaborate. So I don't know if you should thinking about this, or how do you intend to manage? Perhaps we should think this together.
and take this opportunity, open their account, they can work from the institution that class. They were working remotely from their own institution, doing all the connections, going to run, learning how to do that, to get users,
Yeah, so that's a recommendation, I would say, that we plan for a workshop for where we would focus a few golden days and fit this into the model intercomparison effort that was led by Christopher and Celeste. You think it would be
Feasible.
feasible?
I don't. Yes. Yes. It has to be well planned because I think about our own initiative. There were a lot of obstacles and I mean misunderstandings and a lot of things, you know. And so I'm not disagreeing with the idea. I think that you are completely right. I mean the deadline to put in the deadline is the best to work. I mean planning in a planning situation. Only my comment will be that I think we need to plan it in order to have very focused, you know, in what we need to do. What we need to do? Just run model because we want to run model. It's very dispersed, and probably we spend a lot of hours and we will not get any results. I mean, good results you have all the time, you know. But I think it's feasible, yes. I think we did it one time, and also it would be a good chance to improve this kind of managing. That's okay. I'm okay with the idea.
We saw today the presentation by you, Cynthia. How did it work? Everybody sent their output to them, and then they did the comparison. But then you saw the different model resolution, different areas, and so we need somebody to be the focal point to receive all this stuff and analyze that, or a focal point to take this to the workshop and start from that, not go to the workshop with empty hands and start there, right?
write some small header and say, I have a data set that goes from this time to this time, and has this number of breakpoints on each direction. CTL files, then boom, put on the left here, align comparing all. It can be done by people who work with selection orders, seeing their output. You can see the progression there. You try to do a first round, getting people to see together.
Yeah.
But we could also try to have things that come out of the all kind of statistics on the microservices output, but we can use it as a common framework to analyze all these microservices. If they are producing the microservices or not.
Who you said that
Master, the one that you
data
use
comparison.
data comparison.
Yeah.
If you have simulation 200 units, say you want to use the exposure range over the 100. The design,
We have a.
I found today's discussion very interesting. It's not a field that I work in. But it seems like there might be a way to relate to observations and testing and all that. There's just a way that's always looking at that perhaps the thing and use case of asking for trouble or the small domain. If you would take the observation data that you qualify the ones that are really good over the ones that you have, and then see how in the longest period of time things scale to accumulate the forecast over and then you put them to max the observation. And then you rank the model based on the one of the first enough samples that one has the behavior like that scale to whatever size of the making the observation is good, the model is of the next place. And maybe the God reading their composition that seems like they bring the reality into the model.
Yeah, I think these are all good ideas on how to proceed. I would say that if, for example, CPTech decided to host the model intercomparison and put some manpower in that, that would be great. Then we would all channel things to some very concrete place, and then you would be able to work out all the methodology to do the comparison. So what we need is a focal point, I guess. Where are there going to be people? I don't know, Christopher has any idea of how this could be done over there. Don't know how the CPTech resources would be challenged by that.
He's very interested in how models to be one direction.
I would say this is the role of CPTech as a national center for weather forecasting, right? So this is what we're trying to do here. Will eventually improve models, and that will be good for the institution and for everybody involved. Before we go on, I think we could have Gilberto make his presentation, and then we keep discussing with even the data sets and the models, whatever.
Okay. Well, Professor Assunção said in the beginning of this roundtable that it's very nice to, and we are discussing about that. That it's a good idea to make the intercomparison of the model and also the validation of the models. And to do that, we need data. So we have discussed a little bit about data, and Luis asked me on Monday. It's more or less deadline pressure. Monday he sent me an email, oh, could you do this? And I did yesterday with help of some of the people, trying to bring to all of you just an idea about the data set that we have collected during most of the field campaigns. This list of the data is not completed because it needs to include especially the rainfall parameters and measurements, but it will include radio sounds, surface meteorological data, satellite image and radiance. This has been done by Wagner Flaubert, and numerical modeling outputs, which Renato Negri did and sent to me, and I put here in this presentation. So in terms of radio sounds, we spoke a lot about comparisons, outputs of the model with observations. During this morning, most of the comparisons was with rainfall, some using statistic metrics, some only comparing fields of rainfall from observation with fields of output of the model. But in terms of radio sounds, we have this is a very powerful measurement in terms of structure of the atmosphere. We use in all of the experiments we have used this sound here, which is the Vaisala. Okay, which is the Vaisala RS92, which is the one of the best equipment of the world in terms of measure the structure of the atmosphere, especially the humidity, and the data that the outputs of the radio sound gives to us is like this. So we have some information about the site, the localization of the site, the date, the time, and columns like this with pressure, height, temperature, dew point, relative humidity, direction, wind speed, and some of derived parameters like specific humidity, potential temperature, virtual potential temperature. So this the quality control of the radio sound has been done, so the data set is more or less ready. I'm not sure if it is already in the database, the general database of the Chuva project, but we can easily do this in near future. And then, of course, after that, after you have the data set, people can make plots like this, just a time series of zonal components in order to understand how was the wind in a specific site and compare with the observations. So this is for meridional winds and zonal wind. We can understand if there are different regimes from, say, like positive values to negative values in terms of the change of the directions. There is a README about radio sound, and so far now it's missing here the Santa Maria field campaign, but we have for Paraíba's Valley, Fortaleza, and Belém, we have at least 3 points of radio sounds that we did not during the whole period, but in specific events like the passage of cold front or a day with there was a very strong convective activity or something like that. In terms of meteorological surface data, this picture here is, if I'm not wrong, it's in Belém area. So we have a lot of equipment here. At the top of the tower, we have the instruments that measure the turbulent fluxes. We have an automatic weather station, a rain gauge, these drometers. We have the MP3000. So more or less all the equipment, they have been installed in one site. So it was easy to have all of them together, and they can derive different structures. It was discussing in the afternoon session that it could be used, this equipment here, against the radio sound to compare the height of the boundary layer. So, and also the presentation of Henrique, which use another kind of equipment to measure the structure of the boundary layer. So we have different instruments that can give the same idea or the same structure of the atmosphere. This is more or less the same. Thomas showed some of the slides here just for you to have an idea that solar radiation is being measured. We can use those data sets. There is very, very few mistakes or errors in terms of the measurements of solar radiation. Rainfall also is very, very low. I will skip them. In terms of automatic weather stations, we have a temperature, we have a relative humidity, we have a pressure. Those kind of data sets, they are more or less without errors. So it's very easily to handle them and to use for even to model calibrations or to comparisons. I'm just skipping because it's just more or less the same. Something that we can use when we have, say, solar radiation is to derive albedo, which is a very important parameter to understand the partition of energy between the solar radiation, income of solar radiation and reflect solar radiation. And we can see that there was a system here, this was in Paraíba's Valley. So we had a cold front, and there was this is more or less time series of the albedo, very constant value around 0.18, but we had a strong rainfall which disturbed everything here. In terms of sensible heat flux and latent heat flux, it has been also discussed during the afternoon session. It is not an easy instrument to be at the field. They will give us a lot of measurements, very good information about this evaporation and the transfer of heat from the soil up to the atmosphere. But we have a lot of gaps. This is something which is more or less usually when we use the edge correlation techniques. We have a lot of gaps. It's not the same like when we have the slow, fast response equipment. But we have some of them for Paraíba's Valley, and we are working on the same type of the data for the Santa Maria. And in Santa Maria, besides this side point, there is the network from people from Santa Maria, University from Santa Maria, that can help in order to have the spatialization of the flux. In terms of satellite data, images and radiance, this has been done by Wagner Flaubert. He explained me before this presentation. So if you have any doubt, or if you need any kind of data associated with this, please email to him. But in principle, he had already prepared a data set from GOES, Meteosat, NOAA, and DMCP, which is in America, using different formats for the golden dates. The golden dates, they have been chosen by some reason to represent good events in terms of convection, in terms of passage of cold front, or even no rainfall. So for Alcântara, which was the first field campaign, so those are the golden days that has been defined. So if as taking the idea of Henrique about to have a 1 or 2 day simulation for each field campaign, so probably we have to choose one of those days here to do the simulation. So in terms of Alcântara, so far he has data already available for GOES 12 and also for TRIM here. This is for precipitation, rainfall, and this is for the image from GOES. In the near future, he will get all of this information from the other source. But so far, right now, he has data available from GOES and from TRIM. From Fortaleza, again, those are the golden days, and he had already prepared the data set from all of these satellites, which is available. He has all this data set, and he told me that he will be very glad to send to all of you who will need them. In terms of Belém, again, the golden days are here, and they have the same property, the same image from Belém. From Vale do Paraíba, again, the golden days here, and there are informations available, and there are still information that needs to be achieved from other satellites. In terms of numerical modeling outputs, Renato Negri prepared these and sent to me. In principle, this is more or less the same. So the golden days here, they are here, and they have these satellites with information about them. So for BRAM, so he had all the information available so far. Satellites from GOES and Metelsat is here, so they are already ready for them. Again, Vale do Paraíba. And future actions. I guess that this will continue to be discussed during this roundtable, and also there will be another roundtable tomorrow and on Friday. But there will be a special presentation about future activities in tomorrow afternoon. But there will be this Go Amazon 2014 and 2015 that Chuva will merge this experiment in Manaus area, central of Amazonia. There will be, if we have a plenty of data so far, there will be 3 or 4 times more data during all day long since the beginning of January up to December 31. In terms of radio sound, there will be 4 soundings per day. This is a huge amount of data and very rich data set that can be used to study convection, for instance. There are these issues that we have to discuss, like database management. Someone has to there is a group taking care of this, but we need more activities in terms of having all of the data there. And also, we need to, there are data that has some error, mistakes measurements. And we are, once we analyze the data, we discover problems with them. So we split them from the data set that we have. Especially the long wave radiations, we are trying to solve some problem and recover the data set from Paraíba's Valley and Santa Maria. But obviously there are other issues that we can discuss in terms of data set. Maybe if we may have a 1 or 2 days workshop just to discussing modeling. Maybe we can also have the same idea for data set, because the models will need the data set. As we have a very good data set available, the models will benefit from that. So maybe before we do that in terms of models, we can have this data management discussed into more details. Okay. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Luis, but there are different people doing this. In terms of radio sound, I am doing this, but I'm not using a radar, for instance, or the disdrometers. There are other groups doing that. So there is no one only person. There are different persons doing different parts of the data set. So this.
So there is one, the database, there is one responsible for the database, that is money. He is responsible for the centralization and organization of the database.
No, but he is responsible after the data arrive to him.
I know. He's the contact point. And he is responsible to add all the roles. As soon as someone prepares something, change something of the data is prepared in different ways. One, is responsible for its implementation, but sometimes some instruments not very clear, for instance, FISA, that was just that was happening, so some instruments still need.
Okay, so this is what I would like to bring to you, and this is just some subsidies for the discussion.
One thing, you saw what's in the numerical model database. There was a heading over there that said number of steps. That means how many outputs, hourly outputs, right? Right, Renato? Number of hourly outputs. But then, only the ones that were run with VRAMs at CPTech are there. So we saw today other runs with WARF, with OLAM, with other VRAMs versions. So these are at the present they are not there. So what should we do? Should we channel everything to this? So I asked, for example, Renato, Gandurro, would you be willing to put your model output in this database? Or?
Excuse me. No, if I got correct, we had this proposal of carry those output from the other models to a certain database that is administrated by Renato. No. Okay, but only the precipitation output, I suppose. All of is 20 teras. I mean, in the case of the other models, I'm talking about the WRF, the high resolution NAM experiment. It's a lot of. I don't. I wouldn't move it, you know. Okay, just for the golden days. But every output. Anyway, I think it's. Yeah, okay. And how much space do you have? I mean, total. Or I mean, do you have? I mean, the group have. Okay, yeah. Well, okay, no, I think that can be done. We have to check if this can be done. Yeah.
You start having to put some rules on what you are going to store, because we saw here a list of like 20 or 30 golden days, right? Something like that. So if each one of them is 1 terabyte for one run from one model,
Yeah, but each of the global, you need to just for high resolution.
it's a global, but the global resolution is coarse. What's very demanding is the high resolution, right? So there are some rules that have to be given. Yeah. And mhm. Mhm. Like in the model intercomparison page, we put only surface data. So then it's easy to store it, to access it, and all that. So yeah, that I mean, you have to have a goal. If you want to do everything, you won't have space in the, at least. Yeah, then.
It's because this kind of intercomparison has been done in other countries, in other parts of the world before. So maybe we can contact with someone who did this in the past to see which kind of variables is most valuable to save. Otherwise, time interval.
So people who want to put data on this system should contact Mario. That's Mario arroba. Who's Mario? Mario's here? No. Yeah. How long does it take to run one of your cases?
One of my cases takes about 10 hours if I use 8 processors.
Yeah, you're saying you save the conditions, and yeah, but that's lots of work. When you want to do the model comparison, you don't want to run the model again, because then it's lots of work. So now who will, you're going to put this data in the database and somebody will use it there. The owners of the data are using it for something else. So put it there, say, for example, Renato is going to use it. Is that basically right? Or somebody else will do a display like Cynthia showed for all the all the models or things like that, right? So who will be this person that will be in charge of model comparison?
So, now it's someone that working with the database. So, as the and on the Santa Maria case, this
Mm-hmm.
but if someone has a possibility to database the message to me, I can send the subscriber information, and then I make the contact with the
Yeah. Again, using the example of the intercomparison that Cynthia showed here, there was a deadline to put data in the. Otherwise, people won't do it. You have to give a deadline. We're going to model the golden day numbers, and you guys have a month to put the thing in the. Wharf. There was a Wharf from presentations. Yeah.
I think the work is for Santa Maria, right?
For the whole period. So all the golden days that they produce in the list we have already gone up to 1 period.
Just one question. When do we plan to execute this intercomparison workshop? From months now, from 3 months now, so we can start to plan and to see.
And the second point is the workshop. The problem is that, for instance, in the things not portable, the demand is not very good, but they have shown very good results there. And it's better to use different tools.
Yeah, I agree. Of course, this was already something identified. So we could say pre-scale. Everybody that thinks about this is going to try to do a 2 or 3 day simulation until 2 months from now. You're going to put everything to the system, you're going to analyze, publish an comparison data together, and then from that, we take the next step. People just starting to limit all the simulations to this.
Then, yeah, that's very focused. I like this idea. That's very focused. Yes, but you are proposing to rerun. I mean, to run again the models.
Okay.
Yeah, because we don't have those HR laments for Fortaleza. So I will have it. If we want to participate, well, I will have to run it again.
I have one we circulate to find out the diamond cake for each.
Yes, I think one day. Yes.
So we have we circulate instructions to have a list of variables and then as soon as you have the data,
Interesting. Okay. Good. What else? Great. Yeah. Everybody had the same soil moisture, except that the soil moisture is model dependent. Each model treats its moisture a little bit different, but at least if we had the same patterns, would be very good. People who use BRAMs, they just download the soil moisture that's stored there, but I don't know what happens. It's a product of the model plus rainfall, right?
They run it offline. They submit both and they kind of a simulation of the radiation and precipitation.
Okay, and we don't know what's going to happen with WRF also. We don't know.
Also, I know that Edwin Vendrasco, we had this conversation. We exchanged some work because he had to do some work to just to put this in work. You know, the soil moisture, because of the difference into the WRF, into the soil moisture model of WRF and of CPTEC. I presume that he did some trick, you know, that worked. But I don't know how well. I mean, how scientific, you know, is this? So this is this is an important point, isn't it?
People who run WRF, what have they been using? You know, is anybody here? Yeah. But it's only over the US, I guess. It's available only over the US. Here in Brazil, I don't know what people use. Okay. We saw the data sets for radio sondes, the tower, meteo stations. I think as we move through the program, we will see more data sets, right? We'll address a few. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We already have a simulation running operational over the Go Amazon area in Edmaster. It's a 2-kilometer resolution with the rivers and all that. It's already running and it will be operational during the whole time. It will probably have also a simple photochemistry model also for the to generate a Manaus plume and have it transported. And the suggestion I would have is to have the high resolution limited area models effort again for Amazon, for Manaus.
I think, as I already said, I think that is a good idea, but I would change something. I mean, yeah, we have learned. I think, I hope, and also this exercise will probably show some direction, some new direction, so we can improve. My particular concern is into the role of the chosen member from the EPS. I think I have already some ideas to try to improve this, but certainly it can be done.
Okay. And probably with more time we would be able to give some outputs in a probabilistic sense, right? What's the probability that you will have over a 100-kilometer side box, you will have rain. We will have airplanes running around, and we will need some sort of cloud forecast. And that's very hard to do in the Amazon. You would be 100% accurate if you would say scattered clouds in the area. Every day, you would be right 95% of the day. So we have to go do more than that. So that was a challenge for the LBA campaigns also, forecasting where to send the airplane to measure. So I would say that if we had the high resolution runs, we would address this in a probabilistic way better than with only one model. That would be great. What else? Questions?
I guess that the next year there will be a lot of work participating in the whole Amazon. And then that one will be the last one, right?
For sure.
For sure. Maybe you can also mention something about the annual report that thing you have to prepare. For you with help of other people.
There's one thing that I've been asked to tell you is if you don't want your presentation on the Shuva project webpage, you should say so. You should mention this to Rachel, which is there. If you don't want it, otherwise it will go there. It's just being streamed to the webpage, right? And another thing is pizzeria won by far on the preference of everybody. so tomorrow pizza, so today if you want to go to a churrascaria, that's so what else?
students don't want that. But your parent drives